In this lesson, we'll be repurposing our original coin stack. Okay, so what we need to do in this case is let's call this cloner Florida column 1. So we could even make it a little bit shorter if you wanted. Just do flow call 1. And then I'll just duplicate it by control dragging. And we'll rename this one to flow call 2. Okay, so now that we know that this is our column 2, let's get this scooted over. So I'm going to middle click and go into my front view. And with Florida column 2 selected, I'll pull this over to the side. Great. Now I might want to select both of these and actually reposition them just a little bit more over to the left. And I think that works really nicely. So let's jump back over to our perspective view. And you can see how that works pretty well. Now I think we could probably stagger their animations a little bit. So if we go into Florida column 2 and we have Florida column 1 selected, right now their keyframes are in exactly the same place. So let's give it that 2-frame stagger that we've been doing. And I'll just go forward 2 frames, make sure I only have Florida column 2 selected, grab all its keys and just pull them forward. So it's just going to be a little bit behind column 1. And then another thing that I want to do is change its color. So I'll go into Florida column 2 and we'll go ahead and change its colors from the navy blue to the yellow. So right now our texture tags just aren't showing up because they're a little too far over to the side. So all we have to do is just grab our yellow and drop it on and it'll overwrite. And the $sign is going to stay the same color. So now those have been differentiated much better. Okay, so now we can really start going faster. So let's shift select both of those columns and we'll control drag down and then we'll rename it to USVI call 1, and I'll just copy that and paste it in here and just change that to column 2. And now with both of those selected, let's go into our front view and we'll just pull those over and get them right in the middle of that second column. Now let's go back over here and take a look at how many coins are in this column. So these again match. Now later we're going to get into some that have some discrepancies in them. So looks like this one has 7. So what we need to do is go into both of those and change the count to 7. So now we're going to have far greater number of coins. Let's see if our animation still holds up. I think it still looks pretty good. Eventually we'll probably want to add some rotation, but you will also notice that we still have a little bit of, these two are coming down at the same rate and so are these. So let's get that stagger fixed. So this one, which is our Florida column 2, is ending or actually beginning on frame 22. So we'll go forward 2 frames to frame 24, grab our column 1, pull that forward, go forward 2 more frames, grab our column 2 and pull that one forward as well. So now we're going to get a nice little wave stagger of all of those. Perfect. Okay, let's duplicate them again. I'll just shift select those 2, control drag them down. This is going to be Florida again, so we may want to do flow 2 column 1. And we may actually want to go back in here and say that that's flow 1. Since that is the first time that we see Florida. And then we actually have 2 instances of the USVI too. So we'll put a 1 in front of that as well. Okay, so we've got flow 2 column 1. And we want to do flow 2 column 2. All right, let's jump over to our front view. We'll shift select those, pull them over, just get them right there in the middle. And this one's going to have a little bit of a different spacing just because it's so close over here on the side, but that's totally okay. We'll jump back over to our perspective view. And this one, they're going to be a little bit different. So let's just start with column 1. So I count 9 for column 1. So with that selected, we'll just change the count to 9. And then column 2 has 2 more, so that'll be 11. So we'll change the count to 11 on that one. Very nice. And then we'll just want to go in and stagger our keys. So we'll just start on the last one that we set up for the other column. Go forward a couple frames, grab our next column, pull those forward, 2 more frames again, and pull those up as well. So you can see how much time it saves us by setting up the first and second one to look really good, and then we can just duplicate and make changes. And I think these are really going to come together nicely once we add a MoGraph effector that we can change the rotation with. So in our next lesson, that's actually what I want to do. I want to add an effector to kind of spin these coins so they still are looking a little bit too perfect for my taste. So I think having them kind of rotating on a few different axes would be really nice. So I'm going to finish up adding the rest of those just with that same method of duplicating and changing the count and staggering the frames. I'll do that in between lessons, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to add that effector.